Senator Monning.
Thank you, Madam President and members. SB 242 will give parents, community members, and our elected school boards a voice in community policing decisions. Since 1995, the U.S. Department of Defense has operated the Federal 1033 program, which has provided local law enforcement agencies with over $5.1 billion in surplus military weapons and supplies. Over 120 of the local law enforcement agencies nationwide who have received these weapons are police departments based in school districts. In California, the San Diego Unified Police Department received a 14-ton MRAP vehicle, and the LA School Police Department received 61 M16 automatic rifles, 3 40mm M79 grenade launchers. SB 242 will require that before a school district police department can receive these military items, the elected school board must first publicly vote to approve the acquisition, must provide parents and community members a chance to publicly comment on the proposal, and must ensure safe storage and proper training for the officers handling the military equipment. This measure will not deprive law enforcement of access to these tools. It solely requires transparency and the inclusion of parents and elected school board members in an important school and community policing decision. The measure is supported by the California Parent-Teacher Association and has received no opposition from law enforcement. Members, please join me in giving parents a voice in the decision to bring military-grade weapons into California school districts by voting aye on SB 242. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Monning. Debate or discussion? Senator Huff.
Thank you, Madam President and members. I rise in opposition to this. I opposed it in committee. I'll oppose it today. And it's not that I don't want to give parents a voice. Parents have a voice. That's what the school board is about. They get to elect their representatives. They get to come and speak out on the policies that are important to them. And if there is a school board that is allowing their police department to get military equipment that is offensive to the parents, then shame on the parents for having that school board there. But why would we as a state focus on a top-down approach and dictate to them something they already have the right to do? I think this is typical of what we do up here in micromanaging our local school districts. While the case that was cited brings concern about the local school district's reign of authority there, they already have the tools necessary to accomplish this. This is an unnecessary bill, and I urge a no vote.
Thank you, Senator Huff. Senator Anderson.
I rise in support of the bill. We allowed school districts a wide variety of options when it came to school bonds. And then we learned that some of these school districts thought it was a great idea to go out and leverage their district for $100 million today for $1 billion tomorrow with the way they did it. They failed our schools because they weren't solid on that issue. Now we're going to allow them to spend money to get military-grade weapons and tools. I think that an issue of this magnitude deserves a second look, and having an open hearing and allowing their rationale to be presented in public is a good thing. I think it adds transparency. I can certainly understand why we should trust our local school boards and trust our local trustees, and normally I would agree with that argument. But we have seen in the past on certain issues they have failed to be smart with their money and been smart with their community. I don't want to have a series of recalls on these trustees because they failed to do their job in an open and honest way. And I think that this extra level of scrutiny is a good thing to avoid recalls down the road. Because I gotta be honest with you, if my local school districts were spending a lot of money on this and not taking care of business in the classroom, I would be one of those people signing that recall. I urge an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Anderson. Senator Hueso.
Thank you, Madam President. I also want to rise in support of the bill. I think it is necessary, and I wanted to echo the comments made by Senator Anderson in this matter. In addition to that, in many cases where larger districts often are the ones that get more attention from the media, in San Diego, it was the larger district that got the attention of the media, and once that information became public, they reversed the decision of accepting the military vehicle and returned it to the federal government, because there is a concern that money is being diverted away from teaching kids and put into maintaining extremely expensive vehicles to maintain. We're not talking about buses. We're not talking about regular vehicles. We're talking about military-grade vehicles that are very expensive to procure parts and to provide maintenance for. And really, the use is not, these vehicles are not designed to provide services in school environments. And so this bill is necessary. It'll cut unnecessary spending, and it will bring more attention to the fact that this is happening in California schools. So I urge and I vote for this important bill.
Thank you, Senator Hueso. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Monti, would you like to close?
Thank you, Madam President and members. I appreciate the discussion. Again, just to affirm, this legislation recognizes the local authority of elected school boards. The only mandate coming from the state on this is to make sure that as part of that scrutiny, if weapons, military-grade weapons are to be acquired, it will also include making sure there's appropriate training for the officers and appropriate storage, which is a critical issue for the safety of students, the safety of teachers, the safety of the school environment. Again, this has received no opposition from law enforcement. It protects the democratically elected rights of local school boards and parents. I urge an aye vote. Thank you.
All debate having ceased, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Aye. Anderson? Aye. Aye. Bates? Aye. Bell? Aye. Berryhill? No. Block? Canella? Aye. De Leon? Aye. Fuller? Gaines? Aye. Galgiani? Aye. Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Aye. Hueso? Aye. Huff? No. Jackson? Aye. Lada? Aye. Leno? Aye. Leyva? Aye. Liu? Aye. McGuire? Aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mitchell? Aye. Monning? Aye. Morlock? Aye. Morrell? No. Wynn? Aye. Nilsson? No. Pan? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Roth? Aye. Runner? Stone? No. Vidak? Wachowski? Aye. Wolk? Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Block? Aye. Fuller? Runner? Vidak?
Ayes 31, noes 5. That measure passes. File item 38, Senator Mendoza. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 522 by Senator Mendoza, enacting to workers' compensation.
Senator Mendoza.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, I'm here to present SB 522. Currently, there are two, this is a common sense technical cleanup bill. Currently, there are two workers' compensation processes that are known as independent medical reviews. These processes are totally different, but yet they are named the same, and it creates confusion. This bill addresses this problem by renaming one of the independent medical review processes and also clarifying the rights of injured workers without increasing costs to employers. This bill has received unanimous support in Policy Committee and has no opposition. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Any debate or discussion on this item? Senator Stone.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise in support of SB 522. I want to commend the Senator for bringing this forward for those clarifications, and it certainly protects the rights of the workers and clarifies a lot of very important information. Thank you, Senator, for bringing it forward.
Thank you, Senator Stone. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Mendoza, would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote, Madam President.
All debate having ceased, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Yes. There is. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen? Anderson? Bates? Aye. Bell? Aye. Berryhill? Aye. Block? Aye. Canella? Aye. De Leon? Fuller? Anderson, aye. Gaines? Aye. Galgiani? Aye. Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Aye. Hertzberg? Aye. Hill? Aye. Hueso? Aye. Huff? Aye. Jackson? Aye. Lada? I. Leno. I. Leyva. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morlock. No. Morrell. I. Wynn. I. Nilsson. I. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. Stone. I. Vidak. Wykowski. I. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Fuller, aye. Allen. Aye. De Leon. Aye. Runner. Vidak.
Ayes 36, noes 1. The measure passes. File item 39, Senator Stone. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 590 by Senator Stone, an act relating to pharmacy.
Senator Stone.
Madam President, colleagues, thank you for the opportunity to present SB 590, which is a simple bill sponsored by the California State Board of Pharmacy. As a consumer protection agency, one of the key functions of the Board of Pharmacy is to ensure that applicants seeking licensure satisfy at least the minimum requirements for licensure set forth in the law. One of those requirements is the number of pharmacy practice hours that must be earned, which is currently 1,500 hours. Another requirement under the law is that the acceptable methods to document how that experience was earned. SB 590 streamlines this process for graduates from all schools recognized by the State Board of Pharmacy by allowing the board to accept a transcript from the school that includes the degree posted and the date confirmed and proof that the applicant meets the pharmacy practice hours requirement. This bill passed out of Business and Professions Committee on consent, is supported by the California Pharmacists Association, and has no opposition at this time. I would respectfully ask for your aye vote on this bill.
Is there any debate or discussion on this item? Any debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Oh, Senator Anderson, do you wish to speak on this?
I have a question of the author.
Do you wish to take the question, Senator Stone?
No. Yes, I do. I do.
Okay, without objection.
Well, perhaps you, after my question, will prefer the first answer. Is this your first bill on the floor? Not resolution, bill.
Yes, sir.
So I just thought it's important that every man has to go through the same pain that every woman who's presented on this floor has gone through. I wish I could think of a really good question, but I'm sure my colleagues can. I just wanted to point out it's your first bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Anderson. Your equanimity is greatly appreciated. All right, any debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 37, noes 0. The measure passes. File item 40, Senator Huff. Pass on file. File item 41, Senator Hueso. Pass on file. File item 42, Senator Mitchell. Pass on file. File item 43, Senator Pavley. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 13 by Senator Pavley, an act relating to groundwater.
Senator Pavley.
This is not my first bill. Okay. Nor my last, Senator Huff. This bill that passed out of the committee with bipartisan support is a technical cleanup measure. As you know, last year we passed 3 bills that created and implemented the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. They're complex bills, and when you work on multiple bills like this, you discovered you missed some cross-references, they need technical cleanup, you had inconsistent use of terms, minor kinds of things. This bill, the intent of this bill is not to amend it to put in any policy measures. It is simply a clerical, technical cleanup, and we actually have a committee of people that looked at this bill, and verified it is so. There's no policy issue embedded in it. So the Association of California Water Agencies has signed off on this bill, and the governor's office, and agree that it is technical in nature. I ask for your aye vote.
Is there any debate or discussion? Senator Stone.
Thank you. Again, Madam Chair, I rise in support of SB 13, sitting on the natural resources and water. I'd like to commend the senator for this cleanup measure. I would like to just reiterate there is no policy changes for my colleagues to be concerned about, and I urge your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Stone. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing or hearing none, Senator Pavley, would you like to close?
I'd ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
All debate having ceased, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Aye. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines. Aye. Galgioni. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Aye. Hertzberg. Hill. Aye. Hueso. Aye. Huff. Aye. Jackson.
Aye.
Aye. Lada. Aye. Leno. Aye. Leyva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. Aye. Morrell. Wynn. Aye. Nielsen. Aye. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
De Leon. Fuller. Hertzberg. Morrell. Aye. Runner. Vidak.
Please call the absent members. Senator Hertzberg, one more time.
De Leon. Fuller. Hertzberg. Aye. Runner. Vidak.
Ayes 35, no 0. That measure passes. Senator Bates, for what purpose?
For the purpose of introductions, Madam Chair.
Without objection.
It's my pleasure, colleagues, to introduce from Niguel Hills Middle School in the 36th Senate District, student PTA, Ileana Avila and Stephanie Amukte.
Welcome. Welcome to our Senate chambers. Moving on with the calendar, we have file item 44, Senator Huff. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 175 by Senator Huff, an acronym to peace officers.
Senator Huff.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, we're blessed to live in a time of great innovation. Some of those innovations have application to traditional chores that we've done. SB 175 would require each department or agency that employs peace officers and elect to require those police officers to wear body-worn cameras to develop a policy relating to their use. Body camera technology will only be as effective as its policies and procedures are. Having talked with members of numerous law enforcement agencies, a one-size-fits-all approach will not work. Many agencies have already begun reaching out to community leaders and other agencies to provide policy recommendations regarding privacy rights, data storage, and accountability measures. SB 175 creates a flexible framework so that local agencies can develop policies and procedures that line up with the particular community needs and agency resources. This bill addresses the fact that body camera technology is relatively new, and some agencies have started using body-worn cameras without providing comprehensive policies for the use, including privacy and constitutional concerns. SB 175 would require the policy to be developed in collaboration with non-supervisory officers to include the duration, time, and place when body-worn cameras shall be worn and operational. The length of time video collected by officers will be stored. The procedures for and limitations on public and officer access to recordings taken by body-worn cameras, and to include officer training. SB 175 demonstrates the legislature's commitment to keeping the discussion focused on the public safety and privacy rights of all citizens, including our peace officers who are tasked with enormous responsibility to protect and to serve while preserving the public's trust. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Huff. Senator Gaines.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, I just wanted to thank the author for bringing this very critical piece of legislation forward. There have been some issues with regarding privacy, but also with the dealing of the video. And when is the camera turned on? When is it turned off? Is there a warrant if they're entering someone's home? Things of that nature. And this, I think, helps law enforcement. It's really on both sides of the issue, the public and the officer, to make sure there's a full recording of what's going on. So urge and I support. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gaines. Any further debate or discussion? Senator Mitchell.
Thank you, Madam President. Question of the author.
Without objection, sir.
Is it your sense, Senator Huff, that there would be any statewide policy that would provide some consistency from department to department, either just generally, or would each department have the opportunity to develop a policy that's unique to them with no statewide continuity?
There are 6 bills that I know of that are circulating around the legislature right now. Mine tends to be the one that is getting a lot of traction because it's not proscriptive, because I think that the departments of a town of 3,000 are different from a department of a town of 1 million or more. And so what this just requires is that they look at these different components and come up with their policy. That doesn't exclude there being a state policy should we decide, but at least mandates a minimum that they have to have certain components to protect the rights of the citizens as well as protect the rights of the officers.
Thank you. I just asked that because as I sat here and listened to you present, I could imagine a community like mine where you could literally cross the street and move from Inglewood PD to Culver City PD to LAPD to the county, to the county sheriff. And as a resident, not knowing, am I in a jurisdiction where the camera's on all the time? So just recognizing, based on the geographic layout of our state, that you could, in a 10-mile radius, drive through 5 or 6 different jurisdictions, and how the public would have any sense of or confidence in knowing what the policy was. So it doesn't preclude any kind of statewide focused effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Huff, you may close.
I ask for your aye vote.
All debate having ceased, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. Anderson. Aye. Bates. Aye. Bell. Aye. Berryhill. Aye. Block. Aye. Canella. Aye. De Leon. Fuller. Aye. Gaines. Aye. Galgiani. Aye. Hall. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hernandez. Hertzberg. Aye. Hill. Aye. Hueso. Aye. Huff. Aye. Jackson.
Aye.
Aye. Lada. Leno. Aye. Leyva. Aye. Liu. Aye. McGuire. Aye. Mendoza. Mitchell. Aye. Monning. Aye. Morlock. Aye. Morrell. Aye. Wynn. Aye. Nilsson. Aye. Pan. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Roth. Aye. Runner. Stone. Aye. Vidak. Wachowski. Aye. Wolk. Wolk, aye.
Please call the absent members.
Allen. Aye. De Leon. Hernandez. Lada. Aye. Mendoza. Aye. Runner. Vidak.
Ayes 35, no 0. That measure passes. File item 45, Senator Bates. Pass on file. File item 46, Senator Fuller. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Resolution 23 by Senator Fuller relative to Congenital Diaphragmatic Hernia Awareness Month.
Senator Fuller.
Good morning. I rise to present SR 23 declaring April Congenital Diaphragmatic Hernia. Let's start again.
It's a mouthful, no question.
I'm going to need Dr. Pan and some others to assist me on this. I rise to present SR 23 declaring April Congenital Diaphragmatic Hernia Awareness Month. CDH is a tragic disease that affects 1 in every 2,500 births. CDH is caused when the diaphragm fails to form completely, leaving an opening for abdominal organs to move into the chest cavity. Unfortunately, 50% of infants born with CDH do not survive. Recently, 2 moms from my district have bonded over the loss of their children from this heartbreaking disease. Amber Bullard and Ali Sanford have worked hard to gain state and national recognition for CDH. This week, they are lobbying in Washington, D.C. for greater awareness. I am humbled to bring recognition to this important cause. My heart goes out to these mothers and all the mothers who've experienced this really heartbreaking situation. And we hope to bring more awareness here in California. Please join me in bringing awareness to CDH and all the children and families affected. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Fuller. Any debate or discussion on this item? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 35, no 0. That resolution is adopted. File item 47, Senator McGuire. Pass on file. File item 48, Senator Monning. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 165 by Senator Monning, an act relating to controlled substances.
Senator Monning.
Thank you, Madam President and members. Senate Bill 165 will expand the number and type of environmental crimes that are eligible for civil penalties if committed while cultivating a controlled substance. In the last 2 decades, the Central Coast and northern regions of California have experienced an explosion in commercial-scale marijuana grow sites, which contribute to the destruction of forested habitats, the release of toxic rodenticides and fertilizers, and the dumping of waste into the watersheds and streams of our public lands. Members, SB 165 will expand an existing fine structure to allow courts and the Department of Fish and Wildlife to fine these illicit growers and help pay for the expensive reclamation and cleanup costs of the grow sites, which in most cases can cost taxpayers up to $17,000 per acre. Members, I ask that you join me in preventing these bad actors from bringing further harm to the natural treasures of our state by voting yes on SB 165.
Thank you, Senator Monning. Debate and discussion. Senator Nielsen.
A question, if I may, Madam President, of the author.
Will you accept the question?
Yes.
Without objection.
Yes, Senator Monning, I'm very sympathetic with this issue. It's rampant all throughout. One of the issues, though, we must be careful to protect would be the liability of the landowner wherein these individuals have trespassed. There are many, many examples in the forest and wildlands where they've trespassed onto private property. And the private property holder, I've been dealing with the water board on this for a number of years, so I'm conversant. Will there be any protections for that landowner who does not have knowledge of this poacher?
Absolutely. It's a fair question, Senator. The bill is designed to go after the illicit growers, in fact, designed to protect the very landowners whose land is being trespassed. They're often stuck with the costs of reparation and the victims of their waterways being contaminated. So if you review the design of the bill, it goes after the illicit grower, not the landowner. And there's not imputed liability to the landowner.
Thank you, Senator Monning. If I may, on my own time, Madam President.
Without objection, sir.
This is extremely important legislation, ladies and gentlemen. The proliferation in the forest and wildlands, and even close to the cities, of this activity is incredible. And lives and property are jeopardized. The recreating public, for example, that go into the forest and wildlands are now subject to being shot, as are the professionals in the Department of Fish and Game, the Water Resources Control Board. I've, in fact, been working with the 2 sheriff's departments to provide some kind of protocols whereby when the Water Board needs to go in and investigate the pollution fostered upon us by these individuals, that they will be protected by the local deputy sheriffs. So it is a big issue. Senator Monning, you're addressing something of great importance. I urge an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Nielsen. Senator Gaines, followed by Senator McGuire.
Thank you, Madam President and members. Just rise in support. I want to thank the Senator for bringing this forward. I represent 27,000 square miles, much of it rural district. I go to the Oregon border, share it with my colleague, Senator McGuire, and along the Nevada border, and it's just prolific. So I appreciate the fact that you're moving forward with some opportunities to go after these bad players that are growing illegally. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gaines. Senator McGuire.
Good morning, Madam President. I rise in support and do want to thank the Majority Leader for bringing this important piece of legislation forward. These rogue grows are the #1 source of nutrient loads and sediment in Northern California rivers and waterways. Prop 215, voted on by California residents 20 years ago, mandated that the legislature put rules and regulations in place after the passage of this proposition. That was never done. And I applaud the Majority Leader for bringing this important issue forward. We need to be able to protect our state forests, our wildlands, and our waterways from these road grows, and rise in support. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator McGuire. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Monning, you may close.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to thank the colleagues who spoke in favor. In committee, we did have a officer of Fish and Wildlife from Senator Gaines' district, and as Senator Nielsen mentioned, not only is there an environmental hazard, often these illegal grow sites include numbers of people, heavily armed people, and a single fish and game officer is really at a disadvantage. This offers to create some disincentives for these illegal grows, and when they are found in violation, will allow the fines to be commensurate with the damage being caused. Thank you, members. I urge an aye vote.
All debate having ceased, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call to this item? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 35, no 0. The measure passes. File item 49, Senator Wojciechowski. Pass on file. Welcome up. File item 50, Senator Hall. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 232 by Senator Hall, an act relating to school accountability.
Senator Hall.
Yes, Madam President, members, SB 232 will allow the state-appointed trustee or administrator of a school district in receivership to request the advanced assistance of the California Collaborative for Educational Excellence. This bill is especially important for Inglewood Unified School District, which is in my district and has been under state receivership since 2012. SB 232 provides all school districts with a clear path to access the collaborative and is an important tool to school districts under state receivership to advance the successful implementation of recent K-12 education reforms. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion on this item? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Yes. The author requests a roll call. Mr. Secretary, please read. Excuse me, please call the roll.
Allen? Anderson? Aye. Bates?
Excuse me, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Secretary, apparently this is Senator Hall's first bill, and in keeping with the tradition, is there anyone who'd like to ask him a question? Please note that there were no questions asked. All right, Mr. Secretary. Let's, Senator Bates has a question. Senator Bates.
Yes.
Thank you, Senator Bates.
Madam Chair, a question of the author.
Well, Madam President, a question of the author will be more than accepted by Senator Hall, I'm sure. Senator Hall? Yes, Senator Bates.
Yes.
Senator Hall, what is the origin of your name? Isidore?
Actually, it's a Greek name, and it means gift of God.
And you certainly are.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we've all been set up here. All right. All right. I have a feeling there are others who would like to take a pot shot at this, but we have had closure. Let's go ahead and, yes, I noticed, but I have a feeling this is going to get unruly. So I'm going to simply ask Mr. Secretary to please call the roll.
Allen? Aye. Anderson? Aye. Bates? Aye. Bell? Aye. Berryhill? Aye. Block? Aye. Canella? Aye. De Leon? Fuller? Aye. Gaines? Aye. Galgiani? Aye. Hall? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hernandez? Hertzberg? Hill? Hertzberg, aye. Hill, aye. Hueso? Aye. Huff? Jackson? Aye. Lada? Aye. Leno? Aye. Leva? Aye. Liu? Aye. McGuire? Aye. Mendoza? Aye. Mitchell? No. Monning? Aye. Morlock? Aye. Morrell? Wynn? Aye. Nielsen? Aye. Pan? Aye. Pavley? No. Roth? Aye. Runner? Stone? No. Vidak? Wachowski? Aye. Wolk? Wolk, aye. Pavley, no to aye. Mitchell, no to aye.
Just a rookie mistake, Senator Hall, obviously.
Senator Stone, no to aye.
All right, let's please call the absent members.
De Leon, Hernandez, Huff, Morrell, Runner, Vidak.
Ayes 33, noes 0. That measure passes. And Senator Hall, be careful what you wish for.